This is not really a very new topic, and the debate has been going on for last several years. But we all know now, and it's not that a new technique. Holmium laser has achieves practically a bloodless enucleation of the benign prostatic hyperplasia. And you can see, you can appreciate a very well enucleated lobe, which is later on morcellated and removed by means of a morcellator. Now, at the outset, I would want to say that there is no difference in the efficacy of TURP over HOLEP, and they are equally efficacious with durable long-term results. But the difference lies in the safety profile, and this is where we would want to stress. The difference is in the safety profile of the two procedures. And why enucleation? Enucleation, we know from the very old days of the phrase prostatectomy, that enucleation achieves a nearly complete removal of the adenoma of the prostate, and which is probably the most effective way of getting rid of the adenoma. And the holmium laser does the same thing, that is enucleation of the prostatic lobes, in the same manner as you use your finger to enucleate, you use a laser fiber in this case to enucleate. Now, there's definitely, we all know, there's no need to put a video of a resection there. We all know what is the principle of resection. It starts from the surface and goes towards the capsule. And we know that from the anatomy that the blood vessels to the prostate, they are coming from the capsule, and then they enter the prostate and run towards the periphery. So essentially, every time we cut the same vessel, we coagulate, again we cut. And during this entire process, there's a significant blood loss, especially if one is not a very good resectionist and one is not very fast with it. And you can have a significant blood loss in cases of large adenomas which are being resected. And due to constant oozing and bleeding, the appreciation of the capsule may not be as good, and there can be a chance where you can create capsular perforation, resulting in a more significant bleeding, resulting in more fluid absorption. Coming to the second aspect of the thing, which is durability, we have now long-term results on holmium laser enucleation of the prostate, more than 6 years, which are in published literature, and the results are really encouraging, and there is no problem after enucleation, and as we expect, so that enucleation will give the most durable results. And rarely a patient after getting a holmium laser enucleation would need to undergo a subsequent procedure for a recurrent adenoma. That is a very, very rare event. Now, coming to the complications part, and we know that the durability of the TURP, we've been doing it for the last several years, but we know that there's a good recurrence rate, and the retreatment rate of up to 15% is mentioned in literature. And if you consider the complications also, they are relatively higher, and even the stress incontinence, which is proposed to be a major complication after enucleation, which lasts for a few days, is also there with TURP. Now, there are several trials comparing holmium laser enucleation of the prostate, which are larger than 40 grams, and holmium laser scores over TURP in terms of the safety profile. Again, a 3-year follow-up in a randomized trial, and suggesting that HOLEP is a real alternative to TURP. HOLEP has been compared to open prostatectomy in glands more than 100 grams, and there is nothing that needs to be proved again and again, and we know that it stands the test of time for whatever time it has remained, and it really compares in terms of efficacy and durability to open prostatectomy. Again, a comparison of vapor resection and holmium laser enucleation of the prostate and TURP. We know that vapor resection and holmium laser resection both are safer than traditional TURP. Now, a little bit about bipolar TURP. I personally feel, although we have proponents of bipolar TURP, it could be old wine in a new bottle, and with costlier equipments, and as I will show in the couple of subsequent slides, that it has all the disadvantages of TURP other than a major disadvantage, which is of dilutional hyponatremia. Now, this is a study that shows that, it's a randomized study, and people were randomized to the bipolar group or the monopolar group, and there was no difference in the amount of tissue resected, the amount of irrigant fluid that was absorbed, and the duration of the surgery, or the post-operative irrigation, or the fall in hemoglobin. Now, fall in hemoglobin is something that we are looking at here. This is a trial comparing holmium laser enucleation with plasma kinetic enucleation, which is another form of resection in saline. And we are relieved to see that there is something that takes longer than holmium laser enucleation to perform. As you can see that the plasma kinetic TURP, it takes longer than the holmium laser enucleation to be performed. Now the duration of the resection with holmium laser has been shown to be a negative point, that in many studies that it takes longer, but plasma kinetic enucleation takes longer than holmium laser enucleation to perform. Now the safety of holmium laser is documented by the fact that it can be performed in anticoagulated patients. One should take it a little slow here and try to stop. This is my personal opinion and my personal practice. This is what I do. I try to stop the anticoagulants if feasible, and if not feasible, then we go ahead on anticoagulants. Fluid absorption, it has been shown in studies that the fluid absorption during holmium laser enucleation is also far less than conventional TURP. Simultaneous holmium laser enucleation and endourologic procedures can be performed, and we are routinely doing holmium laser enucleations along with ureteroscopies, along with percutaneous nephrototomies. In fact, recently we've done holmium laser enucleation along with a laparoscopic excision of a large bladder diverticulum, and even at the time of cardiopulmonary bypass, this coronary artery bypass, I have performed holmium laser enucleations for patients who were fit at the end of the surgery, and I've done a holmium laser enucleation at the end of a CABG operation. So this is a real advantage of holmium laser, that it does not cause many hemodynamic changes or electrolyte disturbances, and you can perform it safely along with other surgeries. So what are the concerns about HOLEP? The concerns about HOLEP currently are the learning curve, the cost of the equipment that is involved, and the reproducibility of the results. So as you will see in the subsequent sessions also, many people have taken up this procedure and the results are really reproducible. So this aspect is taken care of. Now holmium laser enucleation has got a learning curve, and probably each and every operation that we do has a learning curve, and the learning curve of TURP has probably been the greatest enigma, and people are still learning it after 40 years of its existence. So let's not shy away from the learning curve. Holmium laser enucleation can be learned. An average urologist who is good at doing resection, who has done a couple of finger enucleations, will learn it nicely to perform. He'll be able to perform it nicely after about 50 cases. And during the learning curve, your good old TURP can be used to salvage some tissues that are left here and there and which might be hanging and you're not being able to remove it by holmium laser. You can remove those bits at the end of your enucleation, and gradually you will not need to use your TURP equipments. And as you go on doing holmium laser enucleation, your proficiency with the technique improves, and you have to be committed to the technique to get better and better at it. Sometimes it is said that expensive things are not meant for poor countries, but why not? We are having expensive conferences, we are having expensive cars, we are having expensive clothes. So little bit more expense and for a better safety of the patient and for a better patient comfort is always desired. Now I've been associated with the HOLEP, and I've been performing HOLEP for the last close to 10 years now, and never had to regret the decision why HOLEP was being done. And presented my first experience with the technique for about 1100 cases at the World Congress in 2006, and the results of that study was that the truss volumes and the PSA volumes were negligible at the end of. We used to do routinely truss volumes and PSA volumes in our initial part, and we had very encouraging results. And there were no hemodynamic disturbances, no TUR syndromes, and that was a cystoscopy of a patient who developed a stricture and came for a dilation, and that's how I got an opportunity to perform a cystoscopy after 2 years. And that's a nice, even HOLEP in critically ill patients, patients who are on cardiac pacemakers, patients who are having severe respiratory problems, severe cardiac problems, low ejection fraction, can be performed, and it is a very safe procedure in patients with the high risk patient. And the advantages of HOLEP in critically ill patients, there's no worsening of the respiratory or the cardiac status, no episode of pacemaker malfunction, and you would recollect patients on pacemaker, you have done TURPs and the rhythms go haywire and sometimes you can't get a clue as to what is happening. And due to good hemostatic properties of the holmium laser, the antiplatelet medication can be continued with a slight bit of increased risk. The patient should be warned. I repeatedly say that one should not go in blindly in patients with anticoagulants. So coming to the complications, no special complications which are attributable to the laser, and there's a transient stress incontinence in the earlier part of the learning curve. It may be more, gradually it improves. You need to counsel the patient about a transient stress incontinence. We do counsel them for our TURP patients also, and similarly we do counsel them for the HOLEP patients also. Minor mucosal injuries may occur during bladder morcellation, but the same is true for TURP, and you can have big bladder rents, and we've had those and I've seen those, and even after TURP you can have a bladder injury. So that's not different. In fact, the bladder injury is far less after holmium laser enucleation. So summarizing the advantages of holmium laser and TURP, we know TURP is time tested, but holmium laser is also now standing the test of time. It is relatively new, but not something which is experimental. The prostate size is a major advantage. With TURP, it is difficult to do glands. I would not say impossible, because I know resectionists are sitting here who can do 150 grams, 200 grams prostate effectively with TURP, but that is not true with everybody, especially not true with me. And the holmium laser does not have a size limitation of the prostate, and I've done gland up to 250 grams effectively with holmium laser. And the incidence of bleeding is significantly less, and this is one major advantage of holmium laser enucleation. Another advantage is the post-operative catheterization the duration is less. You can use a smaller caliber of the catheter, and which results in a smaller hospital stay, and thus costs are saved at this end. So I would conclude to say that HOLEP is an endoscopic equivalent of open prostatectomy with an enhanced safety profile. It can be learned and improved with time, and it stands ahead of the currently available competition. And who knows that the 10th edition of Campbell will suggest that HOLEP is the new gold standard against which the other modalities of management of BPH are to be compared. Thank you.